The art critic at the gallery trashed my favorite painting for 20 minutes. I painted it. I was standing in the corner of the Meridian Gallery, trying to blend into the crowd at my own opening reception. My latest series, Urban Solitude, hung on the pristine white walls around me. 5 years of work finally seeing the light after countless rejections. The gallery owner, Patricia Langford, had taken a chance on an unknown artist, and I was grateful enough to let her handle all the publicity while I stayed anonymous in the background. I'd worn my most generic outfit, black jeans, black blazer, minimal makeup, hoping to observe genuine reactions to my work without the filter of knowing they were talking to the artist. The centerpiece of the exhibition was a large canvas I'd titled Waiting for the 6:15, a oil painting of a woman sitting alone in a subway station at rush hour. I'd painted it after spending weeks riding public transit, sketching commuters who looked lost in their own thoughts despite being surrounded by hundreds of other people. The woman in the painting had appeared one evening in December, elegant in a worn coat, checking her phone while crowds streamed past her like water around a stone. I'd captured that moment of urban isolation, the way city life could make you feel invisible even in plain sight. The painting had taken me 8 months to complete, working and reworking the light, the shadows, the expression on her face until I felt I'd gotten it exactly right. A woman with perfectly styled gray hair and expensive jewelry positioned herself directly in front of Waiting for the 6:15, studying it with the intense focus of someone who clearly knew art. She was probably in her 60s, wearing a cream-colored suit that screamed money and taste, with a young man in his 20s hovering beside her with a notebook and pen. The setup immediately identified her as someone important in the art world, probably a critic or collector, with the young man as her assistant or intern. I moved closer, pretending to examine a smaller painting while straining to hear their conversation. The woman, whose nameplate I could now see read Victoria Whitfield, began what could only be described as a systematic demolition of my painting. Her voice was crisp and confident as she pointed to different areas of the canvas, explaining to her assistant why each element demonstrated the artist's fundamental misunderstanding of composition, color theory, and emotional resonance. She described the subway setting as derivative urban realism that's been done to death, calling the lighting amateurish chiaroscuro that failed to create genuine atmosphere. According to Victoria, the woman's expression was melodramatic rather than genuinely melancholic, and the overall composition lacked the sophistication needed to elevate the mundane subject matter into something meaningful. She spoke with such certainty, such absolute conviction in her assessment, that several other gallery visitors began to gather around her, nodding along with her critique as if she were delivering a masterclass in art appreciation. Victoria's assistant scribbled notes frantically while she continued her analysis, pointing out what she called technical deficiencies in my brushwork and conceptual poverty in my artistic vision. She noted that the artist had clearly studied the masters, but failed to internalize their lessons, resulting in work that copied the appearance of serious art without understanding its substance. The woman was systematically destroying my reputation in real time, and nobody had any reason to doubt her expertise. The critique continued as Victoria moved on to discuss the broader implications of what she saw as failed contemporary art. According to her, paintings like mine represented the democratization of art education leading to technical competence without artistic vision. She suggested that galleries like Meridian were doing a disservice to the art world by showing work that hadn't been properly vetted by established institutions and critics. Her assistant asked whether she thought emerging artists could overcome these limitations, and Victoria's response made my stomach clench. She said most young artists today were more interested in being artists than in creating art, focusing on identity and personal expression rather than mastering their craft and contributing to the broader cultural conversation. I felt my face burning as Victoria's audience grew larger and more engaged with her impromptu lecture. She had positioned herself as the expert educator, using my work as a cautionary example of everything wrong with contemporary painting. I wanted to walk away, to escape to the bathroom and process what I was hearing, but I found myself frozen in place, morbidly fascinated by the complete confidence with which she was dismantling work I'd poured my heart into. Every technical criticism, every aesthetic judgment, every dismissive comment felt like a physical blow, but I couldn't stop listening. Patricia Langford, the gallery owner, appeared at my elbow with a concerned expression, having noticed the crowd gathered around my centerpiece painting. She whispered that Victoria Whitfield was one of the most influential critics in the city, that her review in tomorrow's paper could significantly impact sales and my future career prospects. That's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. Full story is linked below or on my channel.